G'day, g'day. So we got another video here on beginner's tips. This one's going to be for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So full disclosure, I actually have not played virtually any other Assassin's Creed games to their completion other than this one, which I'm completely done except for the DLC. But I just wanted to go through 5 very basic beginner tips, just sometimes as reminders, or maybe if you kind of just jump into the game and aren't really paying attention to certain things, that could be really helpful. So the first thing is to remember to save. Obviously that sounds really basic, but it does have autosave. However, what can happen is if you go into a certain area where there's danger, or there's enemies, and let's say that you've cleaned them all out, maybe you get a mercenary comes along and you kill the mercenary, and then you walk out of the area, or you're getting close to the area, getting out of it, and then another mercenary shows up, and then say it's early in the game, or for whatever reason you die, then you've just lost everything that you've done, or you might have lost half of it. So especially I think in the early going for the game, if you're in a position where you've killed a mercenary or killed a bunch of enemies, then sometimes it's good just to walk out of that danger area, because you're not allowed to save within those areas. Get out of the area, just temporarily even. Save the game manually, so at least that you know that what you've just accomplished, you're not going to lose. But then you can go back in and clean up the rest of them. So that's something that you wouldn't really think of, but just the way that the game saves is that you can lose a lot of your information. So additionally to that, your blacksmiths. So those are really, really important for all your upgrades. So for your inventory, if you want to say upgrade, because I'm at level 78 now, but obviously I've been upgrading a lot of my items to the same amount. This one I don't worry about because I just use it for its perks. So for example, my bow, it might have been at 76 or whatever, and I bring it up to 78, plus you can do your engravings. So there's a little bit of strategic management involved in this. So a couple things. One is on the map, especially in the early going, you think, well, where do I find a blacksmith? And the answer is you can't always just find them anywhere. They're typically in town. So what I found was if you actually zoom in the map, you'll find these icons, like message boards. And typically what I find, and this is not always the case, but usually if you see a message board, you'll find a blacksmith somewhere close. It doesn't mean that it always happens, but in a lot of cases it does. So you got here, there's 2 message boards, there's another one over here. So you can as long as you've synchronized these areas, you can just fast travel, go to those areas, find your blacksmith. So this is really handy in situations where, let's say for example, and this comes into the management of your items, let's say for example you want to upgrade a particular weapon, but let's say you don't have enough pelts or you don't have enough wood. You can fast travel to multiple blacksmiths and you can purchase those items from them. So what I usually do here is just mark the message board as your target, and then you'll know exactly where it is. And if you can see up at the top of the screen, I already have the symbol for the blacksmith here, 103 meters away. Of course, I've got a mercenary coming after me all of a sudden. Here he is. Okay, so you go talk to him. Typically you want to sell your trade goods. Now, for example, so let's say, well, this is a good example actually. So let's say that I wanted to upgrade this item and I needed 4,000, what are these called? Iron metal, and I needed 2,000 pelts. So obviously I don't have enough of either of those. So let's say that that was what my main goal was. I can actually scroll right to the bottom, and this is where you're going to find all the materials. So I can buy over 1,000 wood, I can buy my iron metal, I can buy pelts, and the obsidian glass as well. So you can just keep repeating that until you have enough. Granted, obviously you have to have enough drachmae in order to buy that, but that's where it comes into the strategic part of managing your materials that you need to upgrade and also your money. The other thing obviously that you can do is you can dismantle. So if you have a lot of extra items, you can dismantle them, or if you needed money, you could sell them to the blacksmith. So it kind of becomes this game of balancing your money with the amount of materials that you have in order to accomplish what you want to upgrade. But like I said, being able to go to multiple blacksmiths all over, if you have lots of money, or you can sell some of your armor or your weapons, that helps, gives you more drachmae, and then of course then you can buy your pelts and whatever else that you might need to upgrade your weapons. So that's another really good thing to do. Now I'm gonna move just so I'm not getting interfered with. I did mention message boards, so that's the next point. Message boards are basically kind of like side missions where people in the town just put forth different ideas of what they would like to have done. So it could be killing a bounty hunter, it could be going to kill animals, finding somebody that's missing. But what I always recommend for this is just sign up for all of them, because invariably what can happen is if you're out just exploring and then you infiltrate a camp of some kind and you kill everybody in the camp, you could actually by accident even succeed one of these missions, and then you get your XP, and then you get your drachmae, and you get all of this other stuff. So it's good to just automatically agree to all of these anyway. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a message that pops up on the screen eventually that just says this one's no longer available. I find that they tend to cycle, so you'll probably see something similar to that again. Other than that, the other thing to know, this is super basic, but again, if you don't do it in the beginning, let me see if I can find some enemies here without just picking on townspeople. Here we go. Okay. So whichever platform you're playing on, you're going to have two functions that are going to help you escape from damage. So one is to block, which is this, and the other one is to parry, which is basically just to jump away. Now, if your enemies are glowing red, you're going to want to jump away, and if they're not glowing red but they're just swinging at you, then you can block. And if you block, I think it actually builds up some of your what do you call them? Adrenaline, that's it. Your adrenaline segments. So I'm just going to engage this guy.
You want to start?
There's a block. There's a parry. Another block. I think he's got an animal. There's something growling. It's a wolf or something. So anyway, that gives you an idea of how to do that. So those are 5 quick tips for really basic beginner tips. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this one offline. But yeah, that gives you an idea. If you do those things, it really can help you in the beginning of the game. Later on, it helps obviously too, but especially in the beginning when your drachmae and all of your different goods and your items are at such a premium, and it's so important to upgrade your armor and your weapons and to do your engravings. At that point in the game, when it's early, it's really critical to do that because it makes a huge difference when you're fighting enemies. That those things are, in my opinion, are probably the most important. So if you have ideas that you think are the most important for you, then go ahead and feel free to provide the feedback, and we'll see you in the next one.